Tom Curran covers the New England Patriots, and his most recent piece, he's the insider, okay? Most recent piece on NBC Sports Boston, where he stands up and he says, this thing is over. Okay? That Mac Jones has impressed with his performance and his ability to handle all things New England Patriots offense. Handle the fact that he's going to take the job from a former league MVP who took the Carolina Panthers to the Super Bowl. Able to handle the fact that he is essentially the heir apparent to the legacy of Tom Brady. I'm sure there will be a limited playbook and a browbeating whenever he plays. But Tom Curran says this thing is over. Which brings us to, there's a couple of rules when you're getting ready for a season, when you're playing as an athlete. There are basic rules that everybody knows, and yet many people fall into that trap, which is don't make it easy on them. Right? Cam Newton signed for $3.5 million. That kind of made it easy on him, but he clearly didn't have a leverage to get more money. Additionally, he hadn't thrown the football well, and it's backup quarterback, and he played like a backup quarterback last year. Please stop with I saw the Seattle game. You didn't watch the rest of the season. Season is longer this year, and while his shoulder is probably better and his throwing and mechanics are better and his knowledge of offense is better, there's been a limitation to his accuracy. And I've heard Colin point this out earlier this week, or maybe it was last week. It's like, hey, the truth is that while he probably throws a better deep ball when he's healthy than Mac Jones, this is not an offense that needs a deep ball. But the big thing is don't make it easy on your coach to sit you. Don't give them an excuse. Don't give them an explanation. And Cam Newton has done that, right? While the explanation of his season going to last year was COVID, that would lead some to believe that this year you would come in fully vaccinated, ready to lead, understanding how much that sets you back. Nope. And by missing time, he's probably going to miss that opportunity. And look, as athletes, that's all you really want. Bro, just give me a real opportunity, real games, real team, lights on, popcorn's popping, week to prepare. Me and Josh McDaniels draw some stuff up in the dirt, come up with some explosive plays, figure out how to manipulate the defense. Cam Newton, this is a real thing. If Cam Newton doesn't start week 1 against the Miami Dolphins, a team that won 10 games last year, that has improved all their skill position, Tua Tagovailoa's got to be better. Brian Flores, another year under his belt, more of his own personnel. If Bill Belichick isn't going to let it organically play out on the field and allow Cam Newton to lose the job, and he's already lost the job in the preseason after, look, the last time we saw him play, he played pretty well. It tells you all you need to know about the real world of sports, which is you give him a reason, you give him if you're close, why would you ever give anybody else an opportunity to take those first team reps? Right? The same reason most people in football have been critical of the Jacksonville Jaguars up until yesterday announcing that Trevor Lawrence was a starting quarterback, right? The argument is, why would you be giving away first team reps to Gardner Minshew when Trevor Lawrence is your guy? He's the number 1 overall pick, an incredibly highly touted prospect. He's going to be the guy. Why would you give away half of his, some of his snaps to anybody else? He needs all of those reps. Right? The same reason we're critical of the Jaguars is the same reason that Cam Newton completely screwed this thing up. Whatever happened with the COVID stuff and who he's in proximity to and who tested, that stuff is bad. But guess what? If you're vaccinated, the rules are completely different. Everyone knows it, and you run the risk of giving your coach an easy excuse for why he couldn't start you, why you didn't get that opportunity. And as much as you could sit here and go hey, if you're still Cam Newton, okay. Keep in mind, the Carolina Panthers, who he was an MVP of, released Cam Newton. He signed late last year, and the excuse for his lack of a big salary last year was, well, it was late in the process. Like, no, it wasn't. He was available. Well, nobody could evaluate his shoulder. Okay, that's fine. Everybody could evaluate his shoulder this year. They didn't. He signed for $3.5 million. But look, Ron Rivera has run through a bunch of quarterbacks. He settled on a veteran in Ryan Fitzpatrick. Ron Rivera went to a Super Bowl with Cam Newton. Usually the way it works is you reach out to one of your guys who runs your system the way that you want. He's reached out to everybody but Cam Newton. Right? Even Mitchell Trubisky, who's a backup in Buffalo. But keep in mind, that Buffalo coaching staff, the Buffalo front office, Brendan Bean, where'd they come from? Carolina. So if the two places that have coaches and front office people who worked with Cam previously have politely said, yeah, we're good. And the Patriots had him for a year and only offered him $3.5 million, and he doesn't start this year. And Carolina, like, okay, that's 1/8 of the league, but it also sends out signals to the rest of the league. This was a great opportunity for Cam. And whether he knowingly squandered it, potentially squandered it, it was squandered because he wouldn't get vaccinated, right? Because he wouldn't get vaccinated, because he listened to the wrong people. The guy has done everything in terms of leadership and handling. You haven't heard him complain about Mac Jones at all. He's been great. He's been effusive in his praise. The reason they kept him around is they really believe he's a good dude. He has great intentions. He's a hard worker. He's a locker room leader. And look, most of the dudes in the locker room either were playing with him or playing in the league when he won the MVP or growing up watching him win a Heisman Trophy, a national championship, an MVP, and go to the Super Bowl. People idolize him there. And that's why Belichick, I believe, has handled this thing with kid gloves and thought, let's just let it organically take care of itself. Eventually, everybody will realize that Cam just doesn't have it anymore, and we can insert Mac Jones as he does have what we need, and there won't be any locker room strife. But when you take yourself out of the mix for a couple of days, you run the risk of being Wally pipped. And that appears, I don't know if Mac Jones is the Iron Horse. But all these stories are the same, right? Guy gets hurt, guy misses something, guy gives an opportunity to a younger player, and this is what happens. It's like, look, there's stories in sports which we try and make about a bunch of other things, but the fact is that, I don't believe it's the only reason the Niners are going to move on eventually from Jimmy Garoppolo, but one reason is he's always hurt. If you're not, part of ability is availability. I mean, but like the stories, the decades change. Why do teams leave cities? Because they couldn't get a new stadium. Right? The same reason the Cardinals left St. Louis, the Rams left St. Louis. Same reason, the Raiders left L.A., came to L.A. because they were promised the stadium to be fixed, the L.A. Coliseum to be fixed. It never was. They left. They go to Oakland. They fix kind of the Coliseum, but they just add seats. But they never build them a new building, and then they leave. Why? Because they can get a new building. Same reason the Chargers left. Same reason the Lakers left Minnesota. The same reason the Jazz left New Orleans, right? Like, it's all kind of the same, just like all of these stories are the same. Veteran quarterback teetering has respect of everybody, but something, injury, or in this case, being unvaccinated, costs him a couple of key days of preparation, gives somebody a great opportunity. And again, this is based upon Tom Curran. But look, Tom Curran covers the team. He's not saying these things unless he's hearing them from people inside the organization. And he's telling you that opportunity that was provided to Mac Jones allowed Mac to shine. Does it mean he's going to be a great quarterback? No. Does it mean it's totally the right selection? No. But once there's momentum in the building, once we move on and a guy becomes QB1, boy, it's really hard to get it back. You want to know what the biggest lie told in sports? You ready? You don't lose your job to injury. Excuse me? Of course you do. If the guy comes in and is better than you, right? I mean, it's really, Look, that's what happened to Carson Wentz. No matter how good he was beforehand, Foles won the Super Bowl and wasn't good his first two starts, but it's really hard mentally for people to get over what they saw. Right. The Wally Pipp incident, of course, is the most historically significant one, where Lou Gehrig replaced him and then never took a day off. Phil Simms didn't get his job back from Jeff Hostetler when he won a Super Bowl. Drew Bledsoe didn't get his job back when Tom Brady won a Super Bowl. And we may be seeing the last of Cam Newton as a QB1. Now, would he start at some other place? Will he start in New England if they keep him? Potentially, yes. But that doesn't mean that he's the starting quarterback, right? And it's crazy because sometimes you almost volunteer to your coach to sit down for a while. And when you create that opportunity for somebody else, if they're ready, they become the guy. And that's what appears to have happened in New England.